经营的介绍实际上不简单，我们只是
当之无愧。
对，我们来到这里，每个人都一样，都是大家觉得有些不公义的事，我们心里有东西要讲出来，所以都来了，所以每个人都是一样的。现在我以下希望简单用英文讲一下，因为这里也有菲律宾的朋友，还有其他的朋友，不一定广东话有些不认识，有些国语不是很认识的，所以英文可能希望很多人都可能都听得到。I think the commonality between the authoritarian regime, there's one thing in common. They want to erase the memory. They want to rewrite the history of what actually happened. Just like in 1989, Tiananmen Square, Mexico. People grow up in China today, they doesn't know that such massacre happened. And also, a lot of people, they joined the movement at that time. For now, what they heard from the government is a different version from what they actually experienced. Similarly, in Hong Kong, just 6 years ago, 2 million people walked on the street to protest the extraditional bill. That bill will erode the Hong Kong rule of law and independent of the judiciary. But 6 years later, Hong Kong government will have a different version of what happened. We can imagine in 10 years later, the people grow up at that time, the children will not know what happened, or if they know something happened, they have a different version. So I want to let everybody know what is going on, and also just remind everyone in here, just 6 years ago, start from March, is already have the people start the sitting in the government center to oppose the bill. And the movement grow to a scale is, I think one of the largest will be June 9. So it's today in US is June 8. So in Hong Kong it's almost already June 9. 1 million people walk on the street to protest the bill. Also, in San Francisco, thanks for a lot of our brothers and sisters. So not only people from Hong Kong, but also our brothers and sisters from mainland China, from Tibet, from other ethnic communities. They joined together to send shoulder and shoulder with the Hong Kong people, march on the street. So we gather in Cosmos Square and then have, I believe, more than 600 people march to the Hong Kong ETO office to voice our objection to the bill. So thanks for many of you. I think you was there at that time and you are still there today. So thanks for your effort, and also we have to keep the memory alive. I think a lot of excellent speakers previously already described what have changed in these 6 years. I will not repeat all of them, but I think a lot of you have watched the movie in 2015 called 10 Years. Actually, it's a movie at that time. It's kind of described a prediction. 10 years later, so now it's today. Basically, this year is 2025. What will happen in Hong Kong? At that time, Hong Kong government and the Chinese government said it is badmouth Hong Kong. So this is not true, it's not going to happen. But from our vantage point right now, I think some of those actually exceed what have been described in the movie. For example, the national security law in the movie, the government had to engineer assassination in order to, as a reason, to pull out the national security law to restrict the Hong Kong's freedom and all kind of roll back all these human rights and democracy. But in reality, with the 2019 movement, the Hong Kong government and the Chinese government, they need an assassination. It already puts this national security law, roll back the Hong Kong hundreds of years, or maybe the people in 30 years, what they fight for. The rule of law, the press freedom, the democracy. So, with all that happened, what we can do? Just last week, Joshua Wong, he has been detained for 5 years in prison. Just last week, he has been charged a new crime. The crime is collude with foreign force. From that, actually telling us what we need to do. In Chinese government's term, is collude of foreign force. For us, for the people live in the United States, in the Western country, we enjoy the freedom and also the democracy of this country. As a citizen of this country, is our own right and our obligation to tell our own government they have to stand up with the founding principle of this country, need to stand up for the human rights and democracy of the world. So what we need to do is continue to tell our government and the legislative, they have to stand up not only for the country, the national interest of its own country, but if you have to stand up the higher ground to defend the democracy and freedom of the world. So you continue to do that in Hong Kong's government's term is collude with foreign force. That is exactly what they are afraid of, is what we continue need to do. The second thing, I think we haven't have too much success, is trying to extract pressure from the business community. Government and legislation, they only have can go to certain extent. A lot of the influence in the world is for commerce, it's for business, for trade. So we have to explore this approach, assert pressure, same the company, they ignore the human rights abuse in China, in Hong Kong, in some other place. Assert public pressure, so they have to feel the heat, so they have to think twice before they're doing so. One more thing is for a lot of the folks, probably is just enter United States in a relative short term. So I encourage them to settle down as soon as possible, be self-sustained. You have to take care of yourself first, and then take care of others. Also, at the same time, please also understand the history of this country. The human rights and freedom of this country is not dropped from the sky. It's so many generations have to fight years after year to gain all these rights. So as we understand the struggle they have been going through, and then we'll understand in the right context how much we have to keep going, and also we'll keep the human rights and democracy also in this country to continue to flourish. At ending, I want to say, in the movement, one thing people want to say is, like Bruce Lee, right? Be water. Water is salt. We don't see the power. But as waves and waves of water crash on the cliff, crash on the stone, crash on the coastline, you can see in California, we have a long coastline. You can see the rock over there. Over the year, it will crumble at some point. So let us be the wave, one wave after the other. We may not succeed in the first wave, but with continued wave after wave, we will get the hardest stone to crumble. Thank you.
Thank you.